what happened. All right, folks, this is a Oklahoma weather alert right around 1:45 now on this Sunday afternoon. And William Cole here live in the Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV Forecast Center. And we are continuing to track our inbound winter storm. Again, heading into Oklahoma, we've already seen some effects of that. Again, earlier today, we've seen some snow, some freezing rain across parts of the state. We're going to take a look at that here in a second. And then still some ongoing flooding across parts of eastern Oklahoma with extremely heavy rain going on across that part of the state. Again, we'll take a look at that here in just a second as well. Phillip McGee, he's been out and about today as well. He's actually still coming eastbound on I-40. And again, we're going to take a look at his live stream. Also talk to him here in just a few minutes and see exactly what he's seen, again, as he continues to track back into the Oklahoma City metro here over the next few minutes. Let's go ahead and take a look, first of all, here at the WeatherBug live cam. And this is in downtown Norman here. And again, you can still see some of the sleet that actually fell from earlier today. And as we take a look at this, you can see, if you look kind of on the sides of the roads there, again, you can see a little bit of that sleet buildup. And again, that was earlier today with some sleet and some freezing rain that again fell down here in Norman. This is Phillip McGee's live shot. Again, we're going to take a look at that and we're going to talk to him coming up here in a second. Again, he's on I-40 heading right back into the Oklahoma City metro. This is the information you need to know right now. This is the live watch and warning map. This is what's going on across Oklahoma. Blizzard warnings continue across parts of northwestern Oklahoma, out into the Oklahoma Panhandle. Ice storm warning continues here in the pink, and that continues for really north central, west central Oklahoma, even down into parts of southwestern Oklahoma, Altus included in that as well. Right here in central Oklahoma, winter storm warnings continue right here in the Oklahoma City metro, all the way up through the Ponca City area, right there along the I-35 corridor, and then back to the west of that, really from Osage County down through Stillwater, down through Lincoln County, Pottawatomie County, Garvin County, even down through Stevens County. That orange right there, that's a traveler's advisory. Just to kind of put it into context, obviously blizzard warning, bad news right there. Ice storm warning, bad. Let's see, really the winter storm warning also bad. Then the traveler's advisory, just a little bit less of the criteria as far as talking about warnings and advisory. So again, a lighter winter mix possible, again in that shade of orange right there. And then again, ongoing flooding there across parts of eastern Oklahoma. All those green counties, those are all flood warnings or flash flood warnings. So again, ongoing flooding continues across that part of the state again with extremely heavy rain. As we take a look at live mesoscan radar, this is what's going on across Oklahoma right now. And again, you can see right here in central Oklahoma, we're still dealing with some very light freezing rain that's out there. And in fact, Phillip McGee is going to tell us a little bit more about that. And even up really the I-35 corridor across parts of Logan County, even up near the Noble County area. Again, freezing rain continues there. Some very light wintry mix and some snow still across parts of northwestern Oklahoma. A lot of that activity right there starting to end. But as we look off to our southwest, the main wave, the main upper level low, it's going to move through Oklahoma tonight into the first part of tomorrow. This is all very heavy precipitation. And again, like I mentioned, that's going to be moving up into Oklahoma again late this afternoon into the evening tonight, and again the first part of tomorrow. So again, the main wave or the main show is still to come here across Oklahoma. As we take a look across the eastern part of the state, again still very heavy rain, again with ongoing flooding across that part of the states. Again, some locations picking up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches of rain by the time it's all said and done by Monday afternoon there across parts of eastern Oklahoma. Right here in the Oklahoma City metro, as we zoom in, first of all, there's Phillip McGee's live GPS location. So he's now in Oklahoma County. Again, we're going to get to him here in just a second. But again, the really important line here that you really have to look at is this blue line. And this is the freezing line. And that basically separates freezing temperatures from temperatures that are just above freezing. So again, that 32 degree mark, that's where it gets critical. That's where we're seeing that precipitation basically changing over to freezing rain right here in the Oklahoma City metro. I've also put on the live numbers here as well. For downtown Oklahoma City, currently 31, Spencer 31, down here in Norman 32. That's critical because keep in mind, very heavy precipitation is going to be coming up tonight. And again, it looks like right now we're going to be below freezing here in Oklahoma City, at least through the evening. It looks like we will have an opportunity for some fairly heavy freezing rain. So this could get fairly significant with, again, the real opportunity for some power outages, again, right here in the metro. Let's go ahead and get Phillip McGee's stream pulled up here. And again, he's on I-40 there, again, coming on into the metro. And again, looks like he's actually coming up a bridge right now. And Phillip, as you've been out and about seen a lot on I-40 here really over the last hour. And you're on the live line with us, and we're going to talk to you. But again, we've seen, at least by my count, we've seen 5 semis earlier that were jackknifed on I-40. And again, driving conditions heading out I-40 were absolutely treacherous as you were making your way back in. And in fact, at the Calumet exit, this is about an hour ago, but about an hour ago, the Calumet exit on I-40, the OHP actually had westbound I-40 closed. As you're coming back into the metro, it looks like things are a little more wet as far as compared to what we saw out there in Canadian County. But go and bring us up to date as you've now moved from Canadian County right here into parts of Oklahoma County.
Okay, William. Yeah, the roads have actually gone wet right now. Now, I just passed over an overpass, and of course that was iced over pretty good. And that's one thing that I want to cover is the fact that people are driving highway speeds right now, and they really shouldn't be, because black ice is going to be the major issue right now until those temperatures start to drop down, even more, and this all starts to do that transition that you were just referring to. That being said, traveling westbound, I was out by 281 and the Gary exit earlier this afternoon, and like you said, we've seen 5 vehicles, 5 semis that had jackknifed I-40 westbound, and they had basically Calumet exit, Highway Patrol had that shut down, and then as I traveled further east, I started to see some privately owned vehicles, not commercial vehicles, but just regular vehicles that had ran off the road. One of those still had occupants inside of it, waiting to be taken to safety and their vehicle removed from that ditch. And then as I got closer to the Oklahoma City area, now this was probably earlier this morning, whenever the temperatures were still down below freezing, but there was another vehicle that had spun out and was down in the ditch also. So you count those 5 trucks, and then of course there was the 2 trucks on Highway 81 that had the high-profile trailers behind them that got sucked off of the overpass there at Highway 81. So, extremely dangerous driving conditions. The snow and the ice trucks are out, but, the question is they're going to cover the main thoroughfares, the the emergency routes first, and then they're going to start covering the roads that, the secondary roads. So the simple thing is if you don't have to be out at all, don't get out in this stuff. The further west that you go, the worse the conditions are. We've already seen that today with our live stream, Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. And so, very dangerous situation. People need to take this serious, just like they do any other Oklahoma weather stuff. And, slow down. I know that it looks safe, but just use your safe driving sense. And whenever you reach your destination safely. If you don't have to travel, though, the bottom line is don't get out in it. We've tried to tell people that all day long. I stopped at a convenience store to get gas and to get a drink just a few minutes ago, and there were people trying to get to Las Vegas, and I told them, I said, I really don't think that's a great idea for you guys, because you're going to get trapped. I said, there's a second storm that's coming in. It's big, it's powerful. It's going to have high winds associated with it and blowing snow, basically whiteout conditions. And so, I wouldn't even take the chance of trying to beat that storm. So with that being said, William, I'm going to hand it back to you, buddy.
Yeah, just to add on to that, Phillip. So I-40 westbound, so we already saw it was closed at the Calumet exit, just west of the Oklahoma City Metro. But as you head out further I-40, once you get out near the Amarillo area, it's completely closed down. They have snow drifts across I-40 just on the western sides of Amarillo. It is shut down completely. So again, travel is not recommended I-40 to the west at all. And in fact, like I just showed you on Mesoscan radar, we have the heaviest bout of precipitation that's actually going to be coming up here over the next several hours. So again, the precipitation, it's only going to get heavier. And again, right here in the Oklahoma City Metro, unfortunately, it looks like we're going to see a fairly decent bout of freezing rain as we head into the evening, into the overnight period before we do transition over to snow. But again, that's not going to be good here in the Metro. And again, power outages could be a little more common again starting to head into the evening. So that's definitely something you need to know. Phillip, one question for you as you're driving into the Metro. When you're out there in Canadian County, obviously we saw a lot of frozen precipitation. You're in the Metro now. It looks a lot wetter. Obviously, we can see it there in your live stream. What are you getting? Are you getting freezing rain where you are, or are you only getting an actual cold liquid rain? Because right here in the Metro, we're basically right at that 32, 31 degree mark. What are you getting right now where you are there on the western sides of the Metro?
Okay, well, it's gonna go ahead and be just cold liquid precipitation right now. As I'm in, like basically on I-30, I'm fixing to get on I-35 and head north. So again, the bridges and overpasses, as you just seen, I went over that. Those are iced over already. And so that's going to be the main concern is people's traveling at 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, and they're not realizing it. They go over these overpasses, and the next thing you know, they lose control, flip the car, and, they just made situations horrible for themselves. So, take these things, don't take these things lightly. It's only going to be just a matter of time before that freezing line actually progresses more eastward, and the roads are really going to start to get slick. But right now, we're just seeing freezing rain. We're fixing to get on 35 and head north. We're going to get back into the thick of this stuff just as soon as we kind of get out of the city limits up there, I believe. And then, we'll be streaming that all live to the folks also.
Yeah, that's really important. That's really important information, Phillip, that you just passed along, especially what you're seeing right here, specifically in the Oklahoma City metro. So he's saying it's more in the form of liquid rain. Now, these are live temperatures. So this is live mesoscan radar, and 31 degrees in downtown Oklahoma City, 31 degrees in Spencer. These numbers update every 5 minutes based off the Oklahoma Mesonet. So that's really important information. Now, when he was out there in Canadian County, where the temperature was closer to 30, again, that's when he was seeing that more frozen type precipitation. So that may mean that here in Oklahoma City, we may need to get closer to that 30-degree mark to really see that good transition over to frozen precipitation. Now, with that being said, the way it looks right now, heading into the overnight period, we're going to be right around the 31, 30, 29-degree mark here in Oklahoma City. So it's going to be real critical as to, again, how much frozen precipitation we actually see. And again, it's all going to have to do with that number. But again, right now at 31 degrees, Phillip McGee is reporting more in the way of liquid precipitation as opposed to frozen. But again, when he was out there in Canadian County at that 30-degree mark, again, it was more in the form of frozen precipitation. So Phillip, again, where you are right now, are you going to hook in with I-35 and you're going to head north? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I'm on the I-35, I-40 exchange right now, William, and I will give you this update. That exchange is extremely slick and hazardous.
Yeah,
my truck was trying to flip sideways just a second ago. There's
Yep.
one more thing that I want to cover too, as I'm heading north. I don't want to forget about our folks that's over in eastern Oklahoma. My brother just sent me a picture not too long ago of the Arkansas River, and basically it is almost out of its banks. And also Metro Muskogee, Oklahoma, he showed me pictures and video of basically businesses that are being flooded out down there. So, we're facing the winter weather here, but they're facing worse conditions over there also with all of that, those large amounts of rain. And I think that you had said earlier on an update that they're looking upwards of 7, maybe even 8 inches of rain over in that area.
Yeah,
and so the ground is already saturated. There's a lot of runoff that's happening over there already. And it just doesn't have anywhere else to go. So,
yeah, and I just pulled up the watch and warning map here. And again, Phillip, here in eastern Oklahoma, folks, where you're seeing all these green counties, these are all either river flood warnings, the dark green, these are river flood warnings. Down here, these bright aqua counties, those are flash flood warnings. So again, extremely heavy rain continues to fall from really the Miami area over through the Tulsa Metro, Muskogee, even down through McAllister, back even down through Lake Broken Bow, Idabel, all those locations, Hugo, Durant, all those locations, again, extremely heavy rain. And again, some locations across eastern Oklahoma, by the time it's all said and done, again, we're talking about 6, 7, 8, even potentially 8+ inches of rain across eastern Oklahoma. So it's truly a state divided, really right down I-35, where we have winter weather from I-35 west, and then again, some extremely, almost life-threatening flooding going on across parts of eastern Oklahoma. As we take a look at live mesoscan radar, and we're going to get back to Phillip's stream here in just a second, again, just to kind of underscore that with radar. Again, you can see all that yellow, all that orange there across eastern Oklahoma. This is all heavy rain. It's not going anywhere anytime fast. And again, this heavy rain is basically just staying over the same locations. And again, that's why we're seeing this potentially now life-threatening flooding situation starting to develop there across parts of eastern Oklahoma. While we have radar up here, again, you can still see our next heavy band of precipitation now, again, forming across the southern Texas Panhandle. This is what's going to be moving up into Oklahoma later this afternoon, heading into this evening, heading into the overnight period. The first part of tomorrow, this is the real heavy precipitation, and again, like I mentioned, that is what's going to be moving in just a little later on. Let's go back to Phillip McGee's live stream here. And again, that way we can kind of keep up to date with him. Again, Phillip has basically kind of just been giving us a tour from really the I-40 area a little earlier today, now basically into the Oklahoma City Metro. And again, he's basically just showing us how the road conditions are out there. And again, when he was earlier out in Canadian County out there on I-40, again, the road conditions fairly treacherous. In fact, we saw 5 semis that had actually been spun off the road. And in fact, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol at one point out by the Calumet exit actually had I-40 westbound closed. Now that was about an hour and a half ago. We don't have confirmation if it's still closed down, but at that point in time it was closed. But again, definitely a difference in road conditions for sure, going from Canadian County into Oklahoma County. As he's in Oklahoma County now, again, you can see the roads are more wet and traffic is definitely moving at least better than what we saw out there in Canadian County, even though right here in the Oklahoma City Metro, travel is still discouraged. Again, the temperatures are basically right at that borderline, that 32, 31 degree borderline of really liquid precipitation, potentially changing over to some frozen precipitation. So that's what you have to keep in mind heading into the overnight period. Again, those temperatures are going to continue to ease down just slightly as, again, our next wave of very heavy rain is going to be moving up into the state. But again, Phillip, go and tell us where you are right now, and again, just kind of bring us up to date with what you're seeing as you're basically giving us our tour here through the Oklahoma City Metro.
Okay, William, sorry about that. I had my phone on mute there for a second. But anyway, I am approaching the I-44 junction off of I-35. I'm headed northbound. Going to go up through Edmond and then go up I-35 and see what the weather is like up there. I know from earlier reports that we had both had that there was some vehicles off of the highway due to slick and hazardous conditions up there. And we've said this again. Things are only going to get worse before they get better. If you don't have to travel, don't travel, please. That's the best advice that I could give anybody. If it's an emergency, you have to take family members to the hospital or whatever the case. Be sure that you pack, blankets, water to take along with you. If you do slide off the road, you don't know exactly how long you're going to have to be there waiting on tow truck or emergency vehicles to come rescue you. So, with that being said, several hours, it can make a lot of difference. Your vehicle temperature. It doesn't always work the best. It works better whenever it's fully operating going down the highway. And so your heater and stuff like that will have a tendency to kind of cool down. And then, you can potentially get into a dangerous situation with that also.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Phillip. And that's even something we saw earlier out there in I-40 when he was out in Canadian County. Unfortunately, there was a car that was spun off the road, and there were people still in that car. And keep in mind, temperatures basically becoming sub-freezing or below freezing at that point. And again, if you are out and about and, unfortunately, you do spin out or you run off the road, keep in mind the tow companies are very busy today. So again, if you call them, it's not going to be, just an hour wait. It could be a lot longer. And again, keep in mind you could be stuck in your car. And again, keep in mind with those temperatures going below freezing, not a good situation. And in fact, unfortunately, again, we did see that earlier today there in Canadian County. Again, along with all that one car, along with the 5 other semis, again, that we saw that were spun off the road. But again, road conditions, there's a notable difference between what we saw in Canadian County as to opposed to what we're seeing here in Oklahoma County right now, as we're basically just right on that borderline of going below freezing here in Oklahoma County, where Canadian County was below freezing by 2 degrees, and again, the roads were basically icy and extremely treacherous, as again, Phillip McGee was driving through there earlier. But Phillip, it looks like, are you on I-35 now northbound? Is that where you are now?
Yeah, I'm on I-35. I just passed the I-44 exit that would take you back towards Lawton. Okay. And I'm moving up.
So he's going to be approaching like the front. He's going to be approaching the
side of the road.
He's going to be approaching like the Frontier City type area here fairly quickly, just to kind of give people a general idea of where you are. But again, overall, it looks like traffic where you are right now, at least, moving fairly smoothly. Again, roads look fairly wet, but again, the precipitation where you are, it's still all in the form of liquid. Is that still the case?
Yes, that is correct. I don't want to give people a false sense of security because we've been talking about this before. And even on the overhead signs for the major interstates that run through Oklahoma City, they're warning of ice and snow and say take it slow. And that's the best advice that anybody could give you if you have to travel down these roads. The bridges and overpasses, we all have heard this before, but they're going to be the ones that freeze over first. I can attest to that for sure. As I was on I-40, going to that I-35 exchange, the overpass was extremely slick and hazardous. And if you're coming off of the I-40 and you're doing 30 or 40, 45 miles an hour, you can potentially spin out and create a really bad situation really fast. There's a lot of traffic still out today, so that has a potential to make a multiple collision accident. We've been saying this since we started this coverage earlier today, that basically all of the emergency vehicles are going to be they're going to basically have a setup, so they're going to go cover the severe accidents first, and then they're going to just kind of go down the line as to the severity of things. So if it's not that bad of a deal, you might be sitting there for several hours waiting on someone to come rescue you from the vehicle to tow it to salvage yard or wherever it needs to be towed to. But anyway, just slow it down like that sign says. Granted, this cold rain right now, as soon as we get back up past that freezing line, this is all going to change the game. And so, people get comfortable driving this fast, and then all of a sudden they're in a black ice condition, and then the sleet-covered areas. So it's not going to take long for that transition to happen.
Absolutely, Philip. I mean, that's really good advice right there. There's no doubt about it. Let me do this. Let me go and switch back over to the overview again, and let's go back to live mesoscan radar here just real quick. We're going to get right back to your stream here just momentarily. But again, just to kind of give everyone an overview, and we'll also take a look at the forecast. We have new data coming into the forecast center right now, so I'm about to update the 10-day forecast here in just a few minutes as that new data is basically coming in right now. But again, very heavy rain continues there across parts of eastern Oklahoma. Again, we just talked about that a minute ago, but again, ongoing flooding across that part of the states. Again, a lot of rivers now coming out of their banks, and again, this is becoming a life-threatening situation across parts of eastern Oklahoma with, again, just this solid shield of heavy rain. Again, you can see all the yellow, all the orange, even some of that red mixing in there. It's just nonstop heavy rain across that part of the state. And then here in central Oklahoma, again, we do have that liquid rain changing to some freezing rain right here in central Oklahoma, again, where you're seeing that purple right there, and then even up I-35. Again, also the opportunity for at least some change over there on I-35 to see some freezing rain as well. But again, heading into the evening, heading into the overnight, our next big wave of rain, it is still to the southwest of Oklahoma. That is going to be tracking up, and again, that's when the precipitation is going to get fairly heavy here in the state again. Again, that's this evening, tonight, even the first part of tomorrow as well. Let's go and take a look at the forecast map here real quick as well. We'll just give Philip a quick break here. And while we do that, let's go and pull up the forecast map. And again, you can see for today, again, really as we start to transition back into late this evening, back into the overnight period, again, snow, it's going to be likely again out there in the Oklahoma Panhandle, northwestern Oklahoma, perhaps some fairly heavy snow here. And then even across parts of west central and north central Oklahoma, that's going to be a mix of sleet and snow, again, with some accumulating snow. And then right here in the Oklahoma City metro, especially as we get into late tonight, tomorrow morning, Monday, that's when we are going to see a change over to snow right here in the Oklahoma City metro as that area of low pressure moves basically right over central Oklahoma. And as that happens, again, that's going to be our best chance to see snow. And I think we will see some accumulating snow. Again, we're getting new data right now into the forecast center, and we'll have that updated snowfall forecast map coming up here just a little later on this afternoon. Let's also look at the 10-day forecast here real quick as well. Then we'll get right back to Phillip McGee. But just to go ahead and show you that really, as we go through today, again, obviously the chance of a wintry mix is absolutely locked in. Again, wintry mix starting to end tomorrow with snow by early afternoon before that big area of low pressure basically moves right out of Oklahoma. Rain chances going down, precipitation chances going down after that leaves. But then look at the rest of the 10-day forecast, folks. Again, we're talking about our first real cold snap of the year, with multiple days basically right at or just above freezing, and overnight lows basically in the upper teens and lower 20s. So again, some real January weather is going to be building in as we get into the end of that 10-day forecast. And again, that's our first real cold snap of the year right here in Oklahoma. Now let's go back over to Philip McGee's live stream here. And Philip, you're still on the live line with us. And last time we talked to you, again, you were still heading north there on I-35. Again, overall, you mentioned that here in Oklahoma County, again, you were seeing more in the way of liquidy type precipitation as opposed to frozen precipitation that we saw out there in Canadian County. But again, keep in mind, folks, travel still discouraged because we're right on that borderline now of this precipitation changing from, again, liquid over to frozen precipitation. We're basically right at 31, 32 degrees. So we're basically right there at the cusp of it changing over. But again, Philip, from your vantage point there on I-35 northbound, again, it looks like the traffic is really starting to slow down. Bring us up to date with what you're seeing as you're driving through the metro.
Yeah, conditions are starting to actually worsen. There's a vehicle that we just passed that is setting backwards on the northbound lane of the I-35, and he's facing south. So that should tell you right there that the roads are slick and hazardous. Another mile back from that, there was a tow truck that was removing a vehicle that had ran off one of the embankments and down into a ditch. And so, again, we're just, letting folks know that the driving conditions, the further north that they go or the further west that they go, driving conditions are absolutely, positively not hazardous. They are treacherous driving conditions.
All right, Phillip McGee, he is right there in it, that's for sure. And so from there, let's switch over real quick. I want to go back to the Mesoscan radar right here in Oklahoma City just real quick. Let's go and take a look here. Just for the fact, this is important information here as we are tracking basically that freezing line because, again, we still have this very light precipitation that, again, you can see is falling right over Oklahoma County. And again, you can see these are live numbers here. So basically, we're right at 32 there on the western sides of the metro, 31 now on the eastern sides of the metro. Again, keep in mind when the temperature gets below 32, that's when you start to have that opportunity to transition over to frozen precipitation. Right now, what Phillip McGee is reporting, again, you can see his live GPS location. He's right there on I-35, basically heading into the Edmond area. But that green dot that says Phillip, that's where he is. Updates every 15 seconds. But again, overall, he says he's seen more in the way of liquid precipitation right now. But again, I really think as we start to head into the evening now, again, those temperatures are going to come down another degree or two. And again, as that happens, that's when we are going to see more frozen precipitation, again, right here in the Oklahoma City metro. So again, absolutely still discourage any kind of travel, again, right here in the metro, as again, those road conditions are going to start to deteriorate again heading into the evening. But Phillip, we're going to switch back over to your live stream here, and it looks like traffic is definitely starting to slow down there the further you get on I-35, starting to head on into the Edmond area.
Okay, William. Yeah, the traffic has really started to slow down. The rain has actually started to pick up, and I believe that it's starting to transition back to the freezing rain. I've had to turn the heater back up on my windshield to keep it defrosted and to keep my windshield wipers from freezing up. And also, I have a huge amount of accumulation built up on my antenna. But, as we're traveling northbound here out of Oklahoma City, now I just passed through Edmond, and I'm getting out towards the roads, Covell and Danforth, and some of those that folks might be actually familiar with, even the Lazy E Arena. I know that a lot of people are aware of that area. But anyways, if you look over off of my stream, you can see that sleet and everything else is starting to reaccumulate again. So that's only a precursor to what we're about to see here in just a little while once we get up into that freezing area again. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to you at this time. This is Phillip McGee with Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV.
Yeah, Phillip, he's basically going through what we call the transition zone. So he's pretty much right there at that 32, 31 degree mark. It was kind of going back and forth. Now as he's gotten a little bit further to the north on the northern sides of the metro, he's basically now back into really a 31 degree zone. And again, like he said, that liquid precipitation is now starting to transition back over to frozen precipitation. And again, heading into the evening, that's going to be the trend as these temperatures ease down just slightly. And again, we have this next big wave of fairly heavy precipitation heading on into the metro. Now, the one good thing that, again, we haven't seen here in Oklahoma County that we did see in Canadian County just a little earlier this afternoon are any major accidents. And in fact, earlier when Phillip McGee was on I-40 in Canadian County, we saw 5 semi-trucks that had actually spun out or jackknifed. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol at one point had westbound I-40 closed at the Calumet exit. Then we also saw another car that had also spun off the road as well. So a lot going on in Canadian County, unfortunately, earlier. The one piece of good news, what we've seen so far, at least here in Oklahoma County, is that, again, so far traffic overall moving okay, again, specifically right here in the Oklahoma City metro. But again, overall, folks, again, if you don't have to get out in this, it's not worth it. Again, just stay home, just ride this out as, again, like I mentioned, these temperatures are starting to ease down, and we are definitely now starting to transition back over to some frozen type precipitation right here in central Oklahoma. So Phillip, you're continuing northbound there on I-35. Are you gonna take this up into Logan County, or kind of tell us your plan of where you're tracking now? And let me do this. Let me also switch back over here. We'll show you the folks your live GPS location here as well. And Phillip is basically up here to a county line. So this is Logan County, Oklahoma County. That's his live GPS. Again, he's tracking north on I-35. Again, you can see him there in that light freezing rain precipitation now as he is getting fairly close to Logan County. But what's your plan as you're continuing north there?
Yeah, William, I'm going to try and make it up a little bit further past that. I'm probably going to go up around the Perry area and see what's happening up there along the I-35 corridor. I know earlier that we had said that there were some vehicles off of the road. As you were going ahead and you were doing the update there just a second ago, there was another vehicle that was off to my right that was down in the ditch again, facing southbound on the northbound side of the road. Again, driving conditions are continuing to get worse the further north that I go. So, it was more of a semi-type deal headed westbound on I-40. We've seen those 5 semis that had jackknifed and turned sideways on I-40 and had it shut down. Now, as we're going north out of Oklahoma City, we're starting to see more privately owned vehicles, personal vehicles that people are going around in that have slid off the road and are going to have tow vehicles come out and pick them up. We've covered it before, but I'll cover it again one more time real fast. That there could be an extended time period that these folks are going to have to wait in order to be picked up by these tow vehicles and get their vehicles back up into serviceable condition. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it back to you. This is Phillip McGee, Oklahoma Weather Tracker Live TV.
Phillip, really appreciate that report there as you're continuing north there on I-35. And while Phillip was talking, I'm actually looking over some of the newest data here in the forecast center. We just have our basically afternoon data coming in from some of our specific models that we look at. But for Oklahoma City, it still looks like, at least looking at the newer data here, folks, that again, we're still going to have a transition over to snow, I think, tomorrow as that big area of low pressure moves directly over central Oklahoma. Right here in Oklahoma City, I do think we will transition over to some snow. And again, we could see 2 to 4 to maybe 5 inches of snow, depending on your location within the metro. But the other big story that I'm really tracking here closely now, I think heading into the evening, heading into the first part of the overnight, I think before we get a lot of cold air aloft over us, I think as we stay sub-freezing or just right at that freezing mark with our air temperatures, I think that we may see a fairly significant ice storm unfolding tonight right here across parts of central Oklahoma. So again, that could mean some power interruptions. That can mean a lot of different things. So again, that's something you definitely need to at least keep on the back burner. At least the latest model data now really starting to trend to a potentially significant ice storm right here in central Oklahoma before we again transition over to some snow very late tonight, first thing tomorrow morning, again as that area of low pressure moves right over Oklahoma. So Phillip, we're still on your live stream, and we'll put all that together. We'll have your updated forecast just a little later on this afternoon with your updated 10-day forecast as well. That's just kind of my first peek at some of the newer data that, again, we're just getting in here to the forecast center. But again, Phillip, again, where you are right now, still looks like frozen precipitation there on your windshield. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's actually changing from cold rain to now to more freezing rain and frozen precipitation. In my stream, you can see that the salt and sand trucks are out. They're trying to take care of these roads. We know that these are major thoroughfares through the Oklahoma, basically the whole entire body of the state. North and south is I-35, east and west is I-40. And so those are going to be some of the main things that they're going to be focusing on so that people can travel through the state. Another thing that one of my followers had asked me just a few minutes ago was, do you know if there's going to be any flights that are canceled from Will Rogers? And so I tried to get a hold of the airport during one of the breaks, but I couldn't get a hold of anybody. I've not heard anything as far as flight cancellations or anything like that, but I will say this, with this upcoming storm that's coming up later this afternoon, I would definitely say that there's a good potential that could happen. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the ice and snow removal off of the runway or off of the airplanes, but the 50-mile-an-hour winds and the blowing snow and the basically whiteout conditions as this storm kind of progresses more towards the Oklahoma City area.
I think more for central Oklahoma. I think especially late this afternoon, heading into the evening, the first part of the overnight, ice is going to be the biggest concern here. The winds that Phillip talked about, those are also going to be a concern as well, especially if we get this ice buildup, especially on the power lines. Again, once you get some of those 30 to maybe 40-mile-per-hour winds, again, those lines start whipping around. That's when you start seeing the power outages. For the airport specifically, I don't have any information on if they are going to be canceling any of the flights, but again, if we do see a fairly significant ice storm late this evening into the first part of the overnight. Of course, they will have to de-ice the planes before they can take off. Ice is a huge thing as far as aviating goes, especially if you have buildup on the wings and different surfaces of the planes and stuff like that. And also the potential for some fairly heavy snow right here in the Oklahoma City metro. Again, very late tonight, first thing tomorrow morning. Again, that could impact some flights as well. So definitely you just want to check with your airline, check with the airport, and to see if there will be any impacts from this really second round of winter weather that's moving into the Oklahoma City metro. Again, a little later on this afternoon, this evening, and into the overnight period. But again, it looks like, Phillip, from where you are right now, I mean, it looks like the roads, they've really gone from very wet to now you can kind of tell that, again, it is really starting to change back over to some frozen type precipitation there, especially on the northern sides of the metro. It looks like you've already crossed over into parts of Logan County. Let me show your live GPS just so everyone can kind of see exactly where you are as we pull live Mesoscan radar back up. And again, you can see Phillip really just crossing county line right now. And again, he's up there across parts of Logan County, still north on I-35. And again, you can see just this light area of really precipitation there. And again, a lot of it now starting to change over to the form of frozen precipitation. Again, these are the live numbers here, the live temperatures out there. And just on the southern sides of Guthrie, currently at 31. There's the freezing line. So again, Phillip is basically right along that. And again, that's why he's seeing that frozen precipitation again right there where he is. But as we go back to your stream, again, it still looks like overall that traffic is moving fairly smooth where you are. Again, we still discourage any kind of travel, but again, as opposed to Canadian County where you were maybe moving 20 miles per hour, here it looks like, how fast are you going? Maybe it looks like potentially 40 to 45 plus miles per hour there on 35 North.
Yeah, the stream's a little deceptive. I'm not actually going that fast. I was doing probably 50 miles an hour. The pavement has kind of dried, I won't say dried up. It has gone to that changeover, that you were just talking about. And that's again, we've said that false security. People get to traveling and they get to those speeds of 50 miles an hour. And again, if you have to tap your brakes and it's slick, you're going to end up in a bad situation real fast. I'm going to go ahead and head north on I-35. You're absolutely right. The GPS is right. I just passed the first Guthrie exit, so I'm in Logan County right now, traveling straight north on I-35, and intentions are to go up, as far as I can north to see where this actual changeover. I know that earlier we've said this before, that there was vehicles off of the side of the road. Driving conditions were treacherous up here also. And that's the whole point of Oklahoma Weather Tracker in general is to cover the whole entire state. So we're going to be headed north on I-35. We're going to go up here and see what the weather is doing up there, and then we're going to bring that live to folks like we're doing right now. Back to you, William.
Man, Phillip McGee doing a great job. I tell you what, if you folks were joining us yesterday, of course, yesterday we were a little bit warmer at this time, and we were actually tracking severe weather and tornado-warned storms across parts of Oklahoma. Phillip McGee yesterday was across parts of south central and southeastern Oklahoma, again, chasing tornado-warned storms. And in fact, Phillip McGee, I tweeted out the picture last night and also put it on Facebook, but Phillip McGee had a very rare late December rope tornado, and again, that was just south of Asher yesterday in parts of Pottawatomie County. And again, he captured that yesterday. Very thin, small tornado, but it was a rare late December tornado that, again, Phillip McGee captured. We'll show you pictures of that coming up a little later on. So, again, Phillip McGee's really transitioned from the tornado-warned storms yesterday, ongoing severe weather, and again, he's now tracking really wintry weather across parts of northwestern and western Oklahoma earlier today, and even right here in central Oklahoma. So he's really kind of made a complete roundabout as far as the weather goes, and even, again, where he's been in the state. But Phillip McGee, really appreciate the great job that, again, he always does, again, bringing us live pictures from the field and also giving us his insight from, again, all the years that he's been tracking storms across Oklahoma and across other parts of the country. But again, an amazing job today. So let's go back to the overview real quick here, and while Phillip McGee's kind of repositioning there real quick, let's go back to the overview here. And again, you can see fairly heavy rain still continuing there across parts of eastern Oklahoma. Again, for our friends across that part of the state, we actually have some video. And in fact, Phillip McGee's brother actually texted me some video from Muskogee. We're going to have that coming up here in just a little bit. But there is definitely localized flooding going on around the town of Muskogee. But again, ongoing, river flooding, again, localized urban flooding. It's all happening now across parts of eastern Oklahoma. Again, we're seeing that yellow going to orange, going to red. This is just nonstop heavy rain across that part of the state. 5, 6, 7, 8+ inches of rain. It's going to happen across this part of the state really through Monday afternoon. Some locations will pick up that much rain. Here in central Oklahoma, again, we're still tracking really that light at least changeover now to some freezing rain right here in central Oklahoma, and then also north there on I-35, a changeover to some freezing rain, a little bit of sleet there on far northern I-35. But then as you look off to our southwest, where you're seeing that bright pink, some of that white, again, that's the heavier precipitation that's going to be lifting up into parts of Oklahoma, again, a little later on this afternoon, into this evening, into this overnight. That's the main area of low pressure that's going to track right over Oklahoma, and again, put down some fairly significant snow across parts of the state and some fairly significant ice across other parts of the state as well. So let's go back to Phillip McGee's live stream. Again, he's still there on I-35. He's still tracking northbound. And again, he's kind of giving us a play-by-play of what he's seeing, again, as he came up, or really came out of I-40 and now is heading northbound on I-35. And Phillip, you're still on the live line with us. It looks like your stream may have froze. I don't know if you need to maybe restart it from where you are there, but right now your stream is froze. But go ahead and tell us kind of what you're seeing. Again, right here in the Oklahoma City metro proper, again, for the most part, the roads were fairly wet. Again, we still discourage travel. Doesn't mean to get out there. But again, out in Canadian County, it was frozen. Driving was absolutely treacherous there. It looks like now as you're starting to get on the northern sides of the metro up into parts of Logan County, again, it looks like the roads are becoming fairly slick up across that part of the state as well. Is that, again, that's just kind of from my vantage point here in the forecast center. But again, what are you seeing as you're kind of driving through there?
Okay, William, give me 1 second. I got to plug in my tablet. It was actually running low on the battery, but and that's probably why my stream froze. Yeah, I've lost my connection, so I'm gonna have to pull over up here and get things started back up again.
That's all right.
Basically, what I'm seeing right now is once I've made it to the Highway 33 and I-35 area, things have really started to decline as far as road conditions go. Traffic is starting to slow down. There's a lot of slush and sleet that is on the side of the roads right now. I don't want people to be deceived again, thinking that these driving conditions are good. I mean, people are still driving 60 miles an hour and better, and all it takes is one slick spot for them to hit, and it's all over with. So, they need to take their driving precautions seriously whenever they're headed north or west during this big storm that's going to be coming through here in just a little while, and the one that's already been through. It's laid down a lot of rain, it's laid down a lot of sleet, and it's laid down a lot of freezing rain. And you can't see that black ice, and it creates a bad driving condition real fast. We've seen that several times today with the semis, seen that with vehicles that's been facing backwards on the wrong side of the road. And so, take these driving conditions seriously. And I'm going to get that back to you. I'm going to pull over up here in just a little bit and actually fix that data problem, and then I'll get right back with you, okay?
All right, Phillip, really appreciate that, and again, amazing job out there. And also, while Phillip is working on that, folks, I'm just checking Twitter here, and we're getting a lot of tweets in, people sending us pictures of really what's going on, in their backyard, so to speak. And feel free to do that. Again, if you have any pictures of where you are, no matter where you are in the state, again, even as far as what's happening there in eastern Oklahoma with some of the flooding going on across that part of the state, feel free to tweet those to us. And again, I just got some great pictures in from the Mangum area from Brent and Brenda Dreyer out there. And again, they chase for us here from time to time as well. They do an amazing job out there in western Oklahoma. But again, some pictures of Loves that actually the roof caved in. We're going to get these up on the screen here in just a little bit. But again, just taking a look at these. Again, a Loves where basically the roof is caved in from some heavy ice on top of it, some heavy snow, and then also some accumulating snow in front of her house and some accumulating sleet as well. in front of her house. So we'll take a look at some of her pictures coming up here in just a second. But again, we appreciate them sending those to us. And then also, again, if you do have any pictures as well, feel free to tweet them to me at OKWX Tracker. That's at OKWX Tracker. And like I said, we'll be sure to get those on the air. We have a bunch here. We just have to load them into the system, and we'll get those loaded in, and we'll go through some of these pictures here probably within about the next 30 minutes or so. It's just a matter of getting them off of Twitter and, again, loaded into the system. Let's talk about this real quick as well. While Phillip McGee, he's kind of repositioning his system there. Let's talk about power outages real quick. This is from OG&E. This is what OG&E is reporting right now, at least. We do have some power outages in the metro. Right now, Bethany, currently 84 folks without power. Bison, 72. Davis, Oklahoma, down there off I-35, 343. Douglas, Oklahoma, 77. Durant, right now, 191. El Reno, there on the western sides of the metro, right now, 863. And then let's see, Eufaula 289, Hunter, Oklahoma 68 people, Marietta, Oklahoma was 621, Midwest City 94, the Oklahoma City itself, so the Oklahoma City proper 916, Sapulpa 123, and Wewoka right now 72. So like I mentioned, as we start to head into the evening, as our next big heavy band or heavy wave of precipitation starts to move up, again right here in the Oklahoma City metro, the way it looks right now, I think we are going to have a fairly significant round of freezing rain before we do transition to some snow, again, late tonight, tomorrow morning. And again, just, to be completely honest, folks, there could be more power outages, and we could see some fairly significant power outages as well, again, from the Oklahoma City metro to the west, again, as this next band of potentially freezing rain does set up. So again, that's something we are tracking very carefully. But again, this next wave, it's really developing now across parts of southwestern Oklahoma. Let's go ahead and go to the overview real quick. And again, we're just waiting here on Phillip McGee. Again, he's just repositioning his instruments there, his laptop basically, getting his stream back up. And while we're waiting on him to do that, again, this is what we're talking about. This is the big area of low pressure. This is the main storm system. This was kind of the pre-action, so to speak. This is the main storm. This is coming in late this afternoon, this evening, tonight, through tomorrow. Very heavy precipitation here. This is going to track right over central Oklahoma. And again, we're going to be right there at that 32, 31, 30 degree mark. And again, at least initially, before we get more cold air aloft right over that area of low pressure, a lot of this is going to fall in the form of freezing rain right here in central Oklahoma. So again, like I mentioned, at least for central Oklahoma, west central Oklahoma, the opportunity for a fairly significant ice storm will be there. Again, heading into the evening, heading into the overnight tonight and into tomorrow, we will transition over to snow right here in the Oklahoma City metro. As the area of low pressure moves right over us, we'll get colder aloft above the surface. And again, that's going to give us the opportunity to transition over to snow. It looks like Phillip McGee has his stream back up. Again, he's still north of the metro, up in the Logan County area. And Phillip, we're going to get your stream back up here. Again, looks like road conditions continue to deteriorate where you are, especially compared to how it was right here in Oklahoma County proper. Again, tell us kind of what you're seeing and where you are now.
Yeah, that's correct, William. Like you said, the road conditions are starting to deteriorate. You can see that slushy sleet mixture is along the sides of the roads. Now, the snowplows have been through and they've cleaned some of this stuff off, which is a good thing. But whenever you get to the bridges and overpasses, now I'm fixing to come over the Cimarron River, headed north out of Logan County, and as soon as I get across the bridge, I'm going into Payne County. You can see the difference in the road conditions, and the bridges and stuff like that are going to be the ones that are going to be the main concern for right now until that second storm gets in with that heavier ice that you were referring to, and later on that transitioning over to that snow and that blowing snow.
Absolutely, Phillip. What type of precipitation is falling there? It looks like where you are right now, there's still some light precipitation. Just looking at your GPS and radar, it looks like there's still some fairly light precipitation where you are. Again, tell us, what's actually falling? Because again, earlier down here in Oklahoma County, even though we were really at 32 degrees, again, you were still saying it was more liquidy. But again, where you are right now, it's up to around 31 degrees, or down to 31 degrees, I should say. There's Phillip McGee's live GPS location. He's northbound there on I-35. He's in Logan County, but again, like you mentioned, he's he's just about to transition there into Payne County along I-35. Very light precipitation right where he is. But again, are you seeing liquid precipitation, or is it still in the form of freezing rain where you are right now?
It is a mix of liquid precip and freezing rain. There's a couple of areas that I passed through that I've got a lot of buildup on my windshield wipers and on my antenna as I'm driving along. But right now what I'm seeing is just kind of that liquid precip. So that's a good thing for right now. Again, you definitely don't let your guard down whenever you're traveling on these roads because that black ice potential.
Absolutely, yeah. The black ice potential, there's no doubt about it. That's going to be a huge thing, especially now as we start to head into the latter part of the afternoon, and of course heading into the evening as well. But again, so the precipitation is still fairly light where Phillip McGee is, but like I mentioned, as we head into the later part of the afternoon, into the evening, again, that's when this next big wave is going to be moving out, and again, that's where we could see again some more significant type precipitation. And again, we're updating the forecast right now. Again, brand new information coming in right now to the forecast center. And again, while Phillip McGee is actually talking, I'm actually piecing together the forecast here and even the updated 10-day forecast that we'll have just a little later on this afternoon. But again, a lot of new data coming into the forecast center. But again, everything's still on track to still see a fairly significant storm, winter storm across western central Oklahoma, and again, that heavy rainstorm still continuing across eastern Oklahoma. Again, even heading into the overnight and the first part of tomorrow. The data is not changing much at all. I can tell you that right now. So Phillip, as you're still continuing northbound there, again, earlier today when Phillip McGee was on I-40, when he was out in Canadian County, there was a lot going on. Of course, I-40, it's a major thoroughfare through the country. A lot of semi-trucks take I-40 to get from the west coast to the east coast or vice versa. And I-40 earlier today, again, we saw 5 semis that had either jackknifed or had actually run off the road. And so again, a lot going on out in Canadian County earlier. The one good thing that we've seen so far since Phillip McGee's been on I-35 is that even though the roads are still kind of deteriorating where he is, knock on wood, we haven't seen much in the way of any kind of accidents or people that are actually off the road. That's a totally different story, though, again, out I-40. So again, travel's still discouraged all around the metro. If you don't need to get out, don't get out at all. But again, just from the video that we're seeing here in the forecast center, again, I-40, it's a downright mess. And in fact, when Phillip was out on I-40 at the Calumet exit westbound, the OHP, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, had actually closed I-40 westbound, and again, that was almost 2 hours ago. We don't know if it's still closed, but at that point in time, they had it shut down there at that exit. And again, Phillip McGee brought that to us live. But Phillip, you're still northbound there on I-35. You're in Payne County now, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, William. I'm in Payne County. I'm at Mulhall Road for people that are familiar with this area. But we're starting to transition back into that freezing rain. My windshield wipers are actually starting to freeze back over again. My windshield's starting to get ice built up on it. And so I had to turn the defrost back up even more. It's like a sauna inside of the truck just so that we can stream this live. But that being said, I mean, I definitely say that the road conditions are going to start following along with what we're seeing on the windshield here in just a few minutes. So we are headed northbound on I-35. You know, like you said, things have kind of transitioned a little bit as far as the vehicle types. East-west bound on I-40, we've seen a lot of those semis that were jackknifed because of the heavy ice and winds and stuff that were out there. Now, as we left Metro Oklahoma City and started heading north around the Edmond area and parts north of that, even around Guthrie, I just seen another vehicle that from earlier this morning when the temperatures were still below freezing up here, had gone off of the road. You know, I haven't looked to see if there was still any passengers in the vehicles. I would certainly hope not, but we did see that earlier today there out by El Reno. There was a vehicle that still had occupants inside, and they were waiting on, and I just hit a patch of black ice as I'm driving. But as we were streaming that live to the folks, those occupants were sitting in their vehicle waiting to have emergency vehicles come out and take them, you know, tow them out of that slick area out there. So they had made ruts in the road, or excuse me, in the grass, and they had tried to progress forward, but they couldn't go. So they tried to back out, and that didn't work for them either. So now they're stuck, and probably going to have to wait an extended period of time, like we had talked about earlier, because they're going to prioritize what's going to happen, keep these roadways open with the semis and everything else first, and then they're going to make their way to the vehicles that are off the roads and not obstructing traffic or not anybody that's seriously injured from those accidents.
Yeah, that's a good point, Philip. I mean, just like you said, I know we've said it a couple times, but for people that are just now joining us, I mean, the reason travel is discouraged is if for some reason, some unfortunate reason, you were to run off the road. Again, if you call a towing company today, there's so many other things going on, it's going to be a while before they get to you. They're not going to be able to just come out there within 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It doesn't matter if you have AAA or whatever. It doesn't matter. Again, they're prioritizing basically the calls they go to. And again, if you just happen to spin out and you're on the side of the road, again, it's going to be a while before they're able to get to you. So unfortunately, again, don't put yourself in that situation. Don't put your family in that situation. Again, if you don't have to travel, again, travel is still discouraged all around the Oklahoma City metro. Of course, there's always emergencies. If it's an emergency, you have to get out there. You have to get out there. But again, otherwise, travel absolutely discouraged, again, all around the Oklahoma City metro. Again, tonight, heading into tomorrow. And again, even outside of the Oklahoma City metro, again, even what we saw westbound I-40. In fact, I-40 closes once you get out to Amarillo with some snow drifts out there. West of Amarillo, I-40 is completely closed. And then even north on I-35, what we're seeing right now with Phillip McGee live. Again, you can see that, again, this is not something you want to be out on at all. Again, with really the road conditions continuing to deteriorate, and again, those temperatures continuing to come down there across parts of north central Oklahoma as well. Even right here in the Oklahoma City metro, again, we're still hovering 32, 31. Again, we're right there on the cusp of really going sub-freezing and, again, really changing this precipitation over to freezing rain. And I tell you what, this next band continues to enhance. We're going to break away from Phillip's stream just real quick because we have what's going to be a fairly, at least moderate band of potentially heavy rain. It's going to be coming right back into the Oklahoma City metro right now. Let me go and switch the radar here real quick. And again, what you're seeing here, folks, is again, this all has to do with this next wave of rain. This is kind of the first initial wave of it, if you will. We'll take a look at the overview. It's still across parts of the southern Texas Panhandle, but we have at least an initial band of some fairly, at least moderately heavy rain now moving up into parts of Cleveland County, right here in Norman. And again, right now with the temperature right at 32, again, we're right at the cusp of that potentially changing over from liquid over to some type of freezing precipitation, most likely freezing rain. But again, this is going to be moving right up into Oklahoma County. Again, you can see eastern Oklahoma County at that 31-degree mark live right there. So again, this is going to be travel issues as this continues to track up into the metro here over the next hour. And just like I mentioned earlier as well, I mean, unfortunately, we hate to say it, but again, as windy as it is out there with wind gusts right here in the metro, 20, 30 at times, potentially 40 miles per hour, again, as we do start to see some icing on some of those power lines, unfortunately, heading into the evening, heading into the overnight, power outages could become more likely across west central Oklahoma, even right here into the Oklahoma City metro. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. Phillip, let's go back over to your stream now. You're still northbound there on I-35, and you're still in Payne County, is that correct?
Yeah, William, I'm still in Payne County. I'm going to turn around the next available exit that I can get because right at, I believe it's Highway 51 that leads into Stillwater, there are several vehicles that have gone off of the road. One of them is actually hooked up to a tow truck now. Several of them are off of the side of the roads. One of them had just happened. The person was stepping out of the vehicle at that moment that I drove by. So as soon as I can get up, I'm going to get back that direction and stream that live to the folks.
So it sounds like it's something
as we had said before, that the road conditions, we've just mentioned it, that the further north we go, the road conditions are going to continue to get worse. And that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, that you're absolutely right, Phillip. That's exactly what's happening, and that's unfortunate. I missed the first part of that just because I was looking at some data here, but you said that is that something that had just happened, that they potentially had just now ran off the road? Yes, they had just ran off the road. As a matter of fact, as I was passing by them, I didn't see it fast enough, or I would have pulled over, and even rendered assistance to those folks. But Yeah, that's not good. I mean, we hate to hear that, but I mean, that's unfortunately that's just an example, folks, of the reason why. Again, you don't want to be out at all. And I know, Phillip, where you are now up there across parts of Payne County, north of the Oklahoma City Metro, we're not seeing as many cars on the road. But I know right here in the Oklahoma City Metro, obviously there's a higher volume of people that live in the Metro. I understand that. But again, right here in the Metro, as you were driving through I-40 and I-35 in Oklahoma County, we saw a lot more people on the road. This is Phillip's live GPS location, so this is where he is up there in Payne County, up there very near that Stillwater exit. But again, keep in mind, heading into the evening as these next bands of precipitation start to move in, the temperature is still easing down right here in Oklahoma County. Again, definitely, folks, if you're out and about, if you're maybe even watching us on the mobile app and you're out and about, now's the time to start heading home. Don't get caught out in this. And again, even if you think you can drive okay, keep in mind whenever there's frozen precipitation, it could be the driver next to you that can't drive or runs into some type of issue. So again, don't put yourself, don't put your family at risk. Again, now's the time to head home and stay off of those roads again, heading into the evening, heading into the overnight period. And again, Phillip McGee has given us great examples from, again, what he's seen throughout the day on I-40 and now even what he's seeing here on I-35. And it looks like traffic is really starting to slow down there on I-35, again, up there in Payne County by the Stillwater exit, Phillip.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, I am now in Noble County. I've made it past Payne County. I'm into Noble County. I'm trying to find an exit that I can get off at so that I can make it back to the south there, right there at Highway 51 and I-35 junction to see if those people do need help. And then also, like I said, there's several vehicles that are off the road, and I want to be able to stream that live to folks as we're covering this on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV.
Let me do this while you're positioning there, Phillip. I just want to show the radar overview here real quick as well. And we're continuing to look at new data here in the Forecast Center, folks. We'll have your 10-day forecast. We'll have your complete updated forecast again coming up just a little later on this afternoon. But this really the forecast for tonight, heading into tomorrow morning, the first part of tomorrow afternoon, really critical. So we're really looking over all the latest data again coming into the Forecast Centers. We're piecing it together. But again, this is the setup. First of all, we'll talk about eastern Oklahoma. Again, this is all locked in. This is all heavy rain. This is going to continue really tonight, heading into at least the first part of tomorrow before the precipitation ends over here. Already multiple ongoing flood warnings for rivers basically coming out of their banks, and also some flash flooding going on there across parts of southeastern Oklahoma. Lots of localized urban flooding. Phillip McGee's brother, who lives in Muskogee, he actually sent us some video that he took around Muskogee. We'll have that on just a little bit later on, but again, ongoing localized flooding there in Muskogee. But for central and western Oklahoma, northwestern Oklahoma, this is the main show. This is the big upper level storm system. You can see it really taking shape now around the Lubbock area. This is going to be moving up into parts of Oklahoma as we go through the evening into the overnight period. Going to cross right over central Oklahoma, and again, that's going to give us the opportunity for some fairly heavy rain. It looks like some fairly heavy freezing rain this evening heading into the first part of the overnight period. And then it looks like we're going to see a transition over to snow very late tonight, first part of tomorrow morning. But right now, at least with the latest data we're looking at here in the Forecast Center, the thing we're most concerned about is this opportunity for a changeover to freezing rain right here in central Oklahoma, depending on how much of an ice accumulation we get. Again, we could potentially be talking about power outages and things like that. So again, very critical. Again, as we're piecing this forecast together now, again, heading into tonight and heading into the first part of tomorrow as to when we're going to change over from frozen type precipitation, freezing rain specifically, over to sleet and over to snow. As this area of low pressure moves basically right over Oklahoma, the air overhead or the air aloft is going to become colder, and that's going to support a transition over to snow. But until that happens and until that gets closer, right now it's just too warm aloft to change over to snow. And again, as we get below freezing at the surface, again, that's when we're going to see that frozen precipitation, or that freezing rain, again, right here in central Oklahoma. So again, this is going to be a really critical forecast now that, again, we're putting together heading into the evening, into the overnight period. Let's go back to Phillip McGee's live stream here. It looks like he just exited. Again, if you're with us here or just now joining us on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, he's up across parts of Noble County in far northern Oklahoma, and he's basically right on the I-35 corridor there. And in fact, he just saw a car that basically, unfortunately, ran off the road. So Phillip's actually turning back around to see exactly what's going on there. But Phillip has actually given us just a great tour of the state, really, as we've gone throughout the day today. Earlier today, he actually started out on I-40, and as he was heading from I-40 eastbound back towards the Oklahoma City Metro, we actually saw 5 semis, unfortunately, that were either jackknifed or ran off the road. In fact, one of them was actually blocking I-40 westbound completely. We also saw right around the Calumet exit, this was about 2 hours ago on I-40, that the OHP at the time, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, had actually closed down I-40 to the west. And again, the traffic conditions out there on I-40, especially heading westbound, absolutely treacherous. What Phillip McGee is seeing now along I-35, bad. You don't want to get out on it, but it's not as bad as what we saw on I-40. Absolutely treacherous. Traffic moving 20 miles per hour or less there. On I-35 here, as he's now starting to head back southbound, again up there in Noble County, coming back into Payne County. Again, still not recommended to get out on it, but again, it's not as bad as, again, what we saw on I-40, again, a little earlier today. Now, Phillip McGee, you're still on the live line with us. Go ahead and kind of tell us what's going on there. I saw you made the U-turn. I think you're heading back southbound now on I-35. Is that correct? And we're going to check back in with Phillip McGee. We still have his live stream up there. We're just going to hook back in with him here on the live line real quick. It looks like he may have dropped off the line. Of course, that happens sometimes when cell phone service gets fairly sporadic across parts of the state. And, of course, he's up there in north central Oklahoma. As we're getting him back here on the live line, let me do this. I do want to show exactly where he is because with Mesoscan radar, we actually have his live GPS location here. And, again, that way you can at least see where he is. And, Phillip, I know you're back on the live line with us. I hear you there. So give me just 1 second. Let me go and show everybody exactly where you are, and then you can go ahead and give us an update as to what's going on in your specific location. But again, with his live GPS, again, there he is on I-35. Again, basically now back into Payne County. Again, he's coming basically right into the Stillwater exit there. And again, that's where he saw a couple cars off the road, and one of them just really ran off right in front of him. So again, Phillip checking on that. But as we go back to your live stream, Phillip, you're back on the live line with us. Kind of tell us what's going on.
Okay, yeah, William, I'm headed south now. I'm going to go up there to Highway 51 junction there on I-35 where those vehicles did depart the road. And whenever I got off at the Orlando exit, and I found out exactly why they did what they did because, you know, the main highways, you know, the street crews are trying to take care of those, but the off-ramps and the on-ramps are extremely slick and hazardous. So people are exiting the highway you know, probably at road speeds, 55 or 60 miles an hour. But by the time they realize that the ramps are slick, it's already too late. They've lost control of their vehicle, and then therefore they, you know, they slide off of the road. So, fortunate thing for one of them at least, you know, and there's no telling how long they've been sitting there waiting on someone to show up to tow them to wherever they needed to be towed to. But they had somebody there to pick them up. Now, that was one vehicle. There's actually 2 more, or maybe even 3 more that have slidden off the road and, you know, is going to have to wait for the tow trucks or emergency folks to come out. So I'm on my way back. I'm going to see if they need any assistance once I get there. And then, you know, we'll be bringing that live to the folks there at Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV for sure.
All right, Phillip McGee there again, still on I-35, again back in Payne County again. Road conditions still deteriorating where he is. Again, folks, like we've said several times, I know we hate to sound like a broken record, but again, travel just absolutely not recommended really anywhere in the Oklahoma City Metro. Again, even westbound I-40, northbound I-35. Again, definitely don't take that chance. Don't put yourself, don't put your family at risk. Just don't get out on these roads because, again, Phillip McGee can absolutely testify to the fact we've seen from semi-trucks off the road to, you know, just cars off the road that have spun out, and it's a very unfortunate situation we've seen today. So again, just don't get out on the roads. Of course, if there's an emergency and you have to, sometimes you just have to, and we understand that. But again, now heading into this evening with more precipitation, moving back into the Oklahoma City Metro, the opportunity for a lot of that precipitation to start changing back over to freezing rain. Again, definitely don't be caught out in this. Again, if you're watching us on their mobile app, you're out and about, now's the time to definitely start heading back to the house. Again, hunker down. And again, really just ride this storm out again tonight, heading into tomorrow, because again, freezing rain is going to be quite likely here in central Oklahoma before we start to transition back over to snow again very late tonight and the first thing tomorrow. But again, the winter storm definitely, even though we've kind of hit a little bit of a lull now this afternoon, it's definitely not over. In fact, this wave 2 is going to be the heaviest part of this entire storm system as the upper level low pressure basically moves right over Oklahoma. So again, the really tough part is definitely to come. And again, that's heading into tonight, heading into the first part of tomorrow. And again, if you're just now joining us here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, Phillip McGee, our lead storm tracker, again, he's basically just been giving us a tour of Oklahoma. He's been out I-40 earlier today. He's now north on I-35 across parts of north central Oklahoma, basically just giving us a tour of the major thoroughfares, the major interstates through Oklahoma, and again, the conditions on those. I can tell you right now, and Phillip McGee can tell you as well, I-40 out of Oklahoma City to the west is absolutely treacherous. In fact, we saw 5 semis off the road. All bad news on I-40 to the west. In fact, at one point, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol we saw live actually had that shut down. We don't know what the status of that is now, but again, major issues, again, I-40 to the west, even I-35 to the north where Phillip is right now. Again, you can see this is stuff you don't want to be driving on at all. Again, definitely slick and hazardous issues there, even I-35 to the north. In fact, Phillip McGee is about to look at a couple cars that have just basically spun off the road here over the last few minutes. So again, a lot of issues going on. Again, don't get caught out in this. Definitely now, like I mentioned before, is the time to get back home and again ride this out at your house heading on into the evening. Now, with that being said, Phillip, let's go and get you back on the live line here. We still have your live stream up here. Go ahead and tell us where you are and again kind of give us an update as to what's going on.
Okay, I'm on Highway 51 headed east right now, but the actual vehicle that's off of the road, the tow truck has actually loaded both of the vehicles that were off. He's got them both loaded up, and he's already gone. The only one was the recent one that I just seen happen, and it looks like that they're there. They're gonna. There's some folks that's trying to assist this person, and getting their vehicle back on the highway. And so that's a good thing. It's nice that people will stop and pull over to take care of that. But I'm gonna kind of angle here. I'm gonna pull into this parking lot here at the gas station. And then I'm going to try and shoot back up on top of that hill. I have zoom capabilities on my camera, and so I'm going to try and shoot that from right here so that we can see exactly where those folks are at. Now, that white truck that is right there is going to be where those people are actually off the road at. And so there you can see it. You can see that people are out moving around. There's no other really good spot to get to, or I would get a better zoom on that. But anyway, they're out. It looks like that they have a 4-wheel drive pickup, so they're going to try and help them folks get out.
Yeah, from your vantage point, Phillip, yeah, I mean, we can see it. We can see exactly. It looks like they're going to try and pull them out of there, is what it looks like from here. And you can see Phillip kind of pushing in there with the zoom on his camera there. But again, yeah, that's definitely nice of them because like we mentioned earlier, if you're having to wait on a tow truck today, I mean, the wait could be, it could be endless today. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many other calls that the tow companies are getting, and of course they're having to prioritize those calls, you know what I mean, to basically emergencies as opposed to someone who is unfortunately just off on the side of the road who maybe ran into the ditch or spun out. So again, the wait could be long, and again, keep in mind temperatures are now right at that freezing mark, starting to dip below, at least here in central Oklahoma. So again, this is definitely not something you want to be caught out in. I know we sound like a broken record, folks, but we just kind of sometimes you kind of have to beat it home. The fact you really don't want to be out in this at all. And again, if you are out and about now is definitely the time again to head home, as again we do have more heavier precipitation heading into the Oklahoma City metro, western Oklahoma, southwestern Oklahoma, again for this evening, heading into the overnight period. Again, don't get caught out in this. Again, stay home, stay safe, stay warm, and again, just watch the coverage. Watch it here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV or do something else. It's Sunday evening. But again, just don't be caught out in this winter storm, as again, the intensity is really going to pick up really full throttle now as we're starting to head into the evening, into the overnight period. But Phillip, we still have your stream here. We're still watching it live, again, as they're trying to pull this car out. And this is on I-35. Tell us again exactly what exit is. It's not the Stillwater exit, right? You're just to the south of that. Is that correct?
No, it is at the Stillwater exit, William. It's
okay.
on Highway 51, and if you took that due east, you'd run right into the city of Stillwater.
Okay, we're with you. So you're right there at the Stillwater exit. So again, you're watching that live right here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. And it looks like there's maybe another car starting to show up there, Phillip. Is that what we just saw pull up there?
Yeah, there was a Jeep parked behind the big white Ford pickup truck, and those folks, they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And they're going to try and pull them out of there. And I think maybe that's probably the vehicle there that they're actually going. I would imagine that Jeep probably has a winch on the front of it, and they've actually, pulled her out of that ditch over there, and hold on one second, and got her back up on the hard surface there.
You said they did go ahead and get her pulled out of there?
Yeah, from my vantage point where I'm at right now, it looks like that they've got her up on a hard surface where that she can actually take and get, the vehicle's wheels to contact hard surface, and
that's great news. I'll tell you that right now. That is really great news.
Absolutely. So there's going to be some folks that are going to be out traveling around today that are going to be doing that, just looking for specific people. And that really does help out a lot. They could be stranded on the highway for several hours waiting on an actual tow vehicle to show up, or they have somebody that's got a winch on the front of their truck they can hook on. A lot of the vehicles nowadays have tow hooks on the front of them built in, and so they can just snatch them right up out of the ditches and get them on their road again.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just like we mentioned, I mean, if you're waiting on a tow truck today, I mean, unfortunately, man, you're going to be waiting a while. You know what I mean? Just because, like we just said it. They prioritize these calls, and again, unfortunately, they're just not able to get to you. Again, if it just so happens that again you do run off the road, so again, there's going to be a long wait, right. And again, in those sub-freezing temperatures, definitely not a good deal at all. We're gonna cut away from your stream just momentarily, Philip. I just want to go back to radar here, just because we do have another band of again this moderate precipitation again starting to move back here into the Oklahoma City metro. And this is real critical here because, again, if this is liquid or if it's frozen precipitation, it definitely matters. And again, we have live temperatures plotted here as well, updating every 5 minutes here off the Oklahoma Mesonet. For downtown Oklahoma City, currently at 32 degrees. Spencer still maintaining that 31-degree mark. So again, this is going to have the opportunity to be frozen and some liquid mix right here in Oklahoma County. But look out there in Canadian County, already down to 29 degrees. So again, all this activity as it lifts up into parts of Canadian County, this is all going to come down as freezing rain, and in fact you're seeing a little bit of yellow mixing in there. That's going to be some moderately heavy freezing rain now moving into parts of Canadian County. So again, keep in mind, heading into the evening, into the overnight, this is going to be the trend. We're going to have a lot more precipitation, and a lot of it's going to be fairly heavy again as it moves back in. Let's go back to the overview here real quick too, and then we'll get right back to Phillip McGee again, who's live there on I-35. But again, we just want to give the folks the overview look here too. And again, as we do that, again, you can see this is really a sign of things to come. Again, as far as, again, the heavier precipitation for tonight, again, down here around the Lubbock area, again, that's our area of low pressure that, again, is going to advance basically right up in Oklahoma as we go through the evening, into the overnight, through the first part of tomorrow. And again, as that approaches Oklahoma, again, the precipitation is going to become fairly heavy right ahead of it, right here in central Oklahoma and Oklahoma City specifically. Right now, the air just above the surface, it's too warm to support snow. So it looks like at least through this evening, through at least the first part of the overnight, we're going to see freezing rain here in central Oklahoma. How much freezing rain? That could be critical. If we see some fairly heavy freezing rain, we could be talking about a fairly significant ice storm right here in central Oklahoma with some power outages. So we got to track that carefully. As that area of low pressure moves right over central Oklahoma, the air aloft will become cooler and will transition over to snow late tonight for the first part of tomorrow. So again, we will see some transition over, but until we get to that transition to snow, again, this freezing rain potential is something, again, we really have to monitor right here in central Oklahoma. Now let's get back to Phillip McGee, and we'll get back to his live stream. Again, he's up there in northern Oklahoma. Again, he's kind of giving us the tour today all around the state. But Phillip, we've got your stream back up. It looks like your stream may have frozen real quick, but you're still on the live line with us. Go ahead and again tell us where you are and kind of what you've seen or what you're seeing right now. And you may need to refresh your stream real quick too if you can from there. And let's double check on Phillip. Are you still on the live line here with us? So we'll check on that. We'll get
I'm here, William.
Okay.
I had to refresh my data again. For some reason, it dropped offline. I don't know if it was because of the service area or whatever, but you should have full connection now, and we should be up and streaming again. So the good news is the vehicle rescue has taken place, and it is actually out. It's stood up onto the hard surface, and the person is back on the highway again. So bravo to those folks. That's greatly appreciated. As a matter of fact, she just pulled in right here to the gas station that I'm setting at. So I might run over there real fast and just interview her real quick and see what actually happened.
That was really nice of those folks, because just like we've said here a couple times, that if you are going to have to wait on a tow truck today, it's going to take a tow truck quite a while to actually get out there. So again, that was really nice of those folks. Again, they had a winch, I believe, on the front of their Jeep, I think is what it was there. We were kind of having to look at it from a distance, but again, they were able to get to her. And they were able to pull her out. Again, she had just ran off the road. So again, that's just the Oklahoma spirit right there. Other people helping out other people. Because again, if she would have had to wait for a tow truck there, again, she could have been waiting, for a couple hours. And even if she would have, again, luckily she was close enough. She was near that convenience store that she probably could have walked over there to stay warm. But some of these other folks who unfortunately, maybe run off the road in a little more of a rural area, again, it's not such a good situation. So again, that's why we're still discouraging travel. And again, that's why it's better just to ride this out at home and not, again, put yourself or put your family at risk, again, by getting out in this, unless you absolutely have to, unless it's an emergency or something like that. But while Phillip's working on that right there, let me go ahead and do this. Let's go and take a look at the live cam here in Norman. And here in Norman, we're still getting, at least right now, it looks like liquid precipitation here, even though we still have the opportunity for some switchover. We're going to get right back to Phillip McGee's shot here in a second. But again, with the live cam here in Norman, again, you can see right now still liquid precipitation, but again, that opportunity for some changeover to freezing precipitation. We're basically right now at the 32-degree mark here, and again, if we dip down just a little bit lower, right around 31 degrees, again, that's when we're going to start seeing some of that transition over to the frozen type of precipitation. So again, that's something we're tracking carefully, as again, this next band of precipitation is now starting to move right here into parts of central Oklahoma, and again, we'll take a look at that overview here as well. Let me go and pull that up here on radar, and again, we'll get right back to Phillip McGee here in just a second. So it looks like the Weather Service has also, it looks like they're canceling the ice storm warning, and they're switching things over to more of a winter storm warning for a larger part of Oklahoma. So we're going to take a look at that here in just a second as well on the live watch and warning map. Let's go and get that updated, and we'll take a look at that. Phillip, I know your stream is still up here, and if you have anything to interject, it looks like you're about to get back on I-35. Is that correct?
That's correct, William. I stopped and interviewed that young gentleman. Was from Nebraska, and he had a tire pressure warning light on his vehicle pop up, so he was going to pull over to the gas station here on 51 and have that checked out. But unfortunately, as soon as he got on the off ramp, he hit that patch of ice and lost control of his vehicle, and spun him out of control. He landed up against the guardrail, and so he was pulling over there at the gas station after they got him out, and going to assess the damage done to his vehicle and everything else. Everything looked okay, and he was fine. So that's a good report, for that fact. So, but this is going to be something that's going to be an ongoing process all throughout today, tonight, and even into tomorrow, as that big storm approaches from the southwest, like you've been talking about. And things are really starting to come together now. We're up here north on I-35. We're about 13 miles south of Perry. We're in Noble County now, and we're fixing to go into Payne, I believe it is. But either way you go about it, I mean, the roads, even though they may not be apparently slick right now on the main thoroughfare, but it's the off-ramp, the secondary roads are going to be extremely slick. And so I would caution people, again, you should, if you don't have to be out, don't be out. It's like a broken record all day long, but unless that's an emergency, that gentleman was just trying to make it back to Nebraska. So anyway, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to you.
All right, Phil, we're going to get right back to you. I want to just pass this along real quick because there's a few changes now here on the live watch and warning map. This is from the National Weather Service. So basically what they've done now is the blizzard warning has now been extended really into the far western tier of counties here in Oklahoma. All the counties in white. This is now a blizzard warning that's in effect for far western Oklahoma. The ice storm warning has now been changed over to a winter storm warning. So all the counties there and kind of that hot red color you're seeing from really the Oklahoma City metro all the way up through Ponca City, Enid, all the way down through Clinton, down through the Altus area, Lawton included, Chickasha. Again, this is going to be a winter storm warning that's now in effect. So a little bit of a change there now this afternoon from the National Weather Service. But again, this blizzard warning now, again, being extended there across parts of far western Oklahoma. Again, that's going to be for some whiteout conditions, some sideways blowing snow, and even the opportunity for some of that right here within this winter storm warning, and also the opportunity for some accumulating ice within that winter storm warning as well. So again, a little bit of a change there now officially from the National Weather Service as far as the live watch and warning map goes. So just wanted to pass that along. Let's go back to Phillip McGee's live stream. We're going to take a look at live mesoscan radar here in a second, but Phillip, let me toss it back to you real quick and go ahead and bring us up to date.
Okay, yeah, William, I'm on I-35. I'm headed north. I'm just about 13 miles from Perry, Oklahoma. And basically road conditions, you know, they're still deteriorating. The roads they're kind of clear. The ice removal vehicles, the salt and sand trucks are trying to take care of this before that second set heads in. But, you know, prime example is what we just seen, that vehicle rescue just a second ago, live on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to you. This is Phillip McGee reporting live for Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV.
So, Phillip, we're going to stay with your live stream. We're going to get back to you here in just a second. But again, Phillip McGee doing a great job today. Again, he's now across parts of northern Oklahoma. In fact, we're going to take a look at his live GPS location just so everyone can see exactly where he is. But he's really been all around today. In fact, earlier today, he was even out across parts of I-40. But again, you can see Phillip McGee up here. And in fact, actually, Phillip, we're going to check your GPS location. It looks like it sent you home. But anyway, Phillip McGee, he's still up here across parts of Payne County and actually starting to dip back down now into parts of Logan County, but he was out across parts of I-40 earlier today, and I tell you what, some of the video that we saw out on I-40 was fairly dramatic earlier, again, where we had actually 5 semis, we counted 5 semis that were actually jackknifed and off the road. In fact, at one point, the OHP, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, had I-40 westbound closed at the Calumet exit. Again, road conditions on I-40, really not good at all. We can tell you that right now. I-35 to the north, again, we still don't recommend travel, but they're a little bit better, at least, than what we saw on I-40, but again, with this next batch of fairly heavy precipitation that again is going to be moving into the Oklahoma City metro heading into this evening, heading into the overnight period. Again, travel not recommended. I-40, central Oklahoma, I-35 north, again, all big time problems again with that right there. So again, the best advice, at least from the forecast center late this afternoon now, is just to stay home, ride this next part of the storm, this next full throttle part of the storm out, really at your house, wherever you live. And again, just don't get out in this, you know, don't put yourself at risk, don't put your family at risk, and again, basically just stay home. And Phillip McGee, it looks like you're southbound there on I-35. Go ahead and tell us again kind of what you're seeing now. It looks like you're kind of picking up speed. Looks like you're driving at least easier than you were earlier as you're starting to head back southbound now. All right, we'll check back with Phillip McGee here in a second. Looks like we may have just lost his live line feed. We're going to take a look at live mesoscan radar coming up here in just a second as well. We're going to give you an overview because, like I mentioned, heading into this evening now, we are going to have a fairly heavy wave of precipitation that's going to start moving back in. And unfortunately, it's going to be in the mix of some snow, but also across other parts of Oklahoma. Right here in the Oklahoma City metro, it looks like we might see more in the way of freezing rain before we finally change over to snow late tonight into tomorrow morning. But again, this opportunity, at least for some freezing rain, again, could be fairly significant. So again, that's something that, again, we're going to be tracking here very carefully with that right there. So let's do this. We're going to break away from Phillip McGee's stream for 1 second. And again, we're just going to show you kind of the overview of what's going on here with mesoscan radar. Again, we'll get back to his stream. We're going to get him right back on the live line here momentarily as well. So again, more to come on that here in a second. But again, as we look at the overview here with live mesoscan radar, again, you can see still extremely heavy rain across eastern Oklahoma, ongoing flooding across that part of the state, and that's only going to continue tonight into tomorrow. Again, it's a bad deal there across parts of eastern Oklahoma. But right here in central Oklahoma, what we're watching is really this next wave, and you can see it developing now across parts of really the southern Texas panhandle. And again, this next wave, this is basically the area of low pressure that's going to move right up over Oklahoma tonight into tomorrow morning. And this is all very heavy precipitation here. And again, it's going to come in the form of freezing rain and snow across parts of Oklahoma. Again, right here in central Oklahoma, the opportunity for, again, freezing rain this evening, heading into the first part of the overnight. Very likely, again, some of it could be some fairly heavy freezing rain. We've got to track that carefully because, of course, with those gusty winds out there, the freezing rain, that is not a good mix as far as power outage potential goes. So again, we are going to be tracking that carefully as, again, that area of low pressure moves right over Oklahoma. Again, that's when the air just above the surface will cool down enough to actually give us the opportunity for some snow right here in the Oklahoma City metro. And again, that snow could be heavy at times, again, with some blowing snow possible, again, with those gusty northerly winds that we're seeing out there. There's still Phillip McGee's live stream. He's still southbound there on I-35. Again, we're still just trying to get him back on the live line. Again, he's just kind of getting a little rule there. So unfortunately, we lost the cell phone signal. But again, Phillip McGee doing just an amazing job today, basically giving us a tour of the state, really from I-40 into the Oklahoma City metro and now north up across parts of I-35, showing us basically exactly what the conditions have been. And again, it's been fairly dramatic throughout the day, as again, we've seen, again, semis off the road, we've seen cars off the road, and Phillip McGee really toughing some pretty treacherous driving conditions earlier today as well, especially out on I-40. I-40 to the west of the Oklahoma City metro, again, it's, traffic there moving maybe at 20 miles per hour again with some major issues across that part of the state. So with that being said, folks, we've been on here live for just a little over an hour. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. I'm actually updating the forecast right now. Again, getting the updated 10-day forecast ready for this afternoon and updating the snowfall forecast map and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm going to continue working on that. Again, Phillip McGee, he's still heading back now to the metro. We're going to have another live update coming up here in just about 30 minutes. We'll also have your complete forecast coming up here just a little later on as well. We're going to break down exactly what's going to happen this evening, tonight, and take you all the way into tomorrow, show you exactly what to expect. Also update those snow totals and, again, at least take a look into the opportunity for some fairly heavy freezing rain across parts of the state, specifically even right here in the Oklahoma City metro. So again, more to come on that here throughout the afternoon, right here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. Again, keep it here with Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. We'll keep you up to date with the latest live weather information for Oklahoma. Again, we'll be back with you in about 30 minutes, right around 3:45.